Welcome back. This is the 5th week, the last one in the way that a road has a last mile, not because the walking stops, but because by now you know how to walk. So let it be simple tonight. Let the day set itself down outside the door. There is nothing left for you to fix in the next hour. There is only this, a voice, the dark, the weight of your own body finally allowed to be heavy. Before we go further, let me say the plain thing, the honest thing, the way I have said it each week. This is a calm, guided session built on the principles of CBT-I, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, which is the first-line gold standard treatment for sleep that has gone wrong and stayed wrong. But this session itself is not therapy, and it is not medical advice, and it is not a diagnosis or a cure. It is education, and it is practice, and it is a quiet place to rest. If your sleep troubles are severe, or if they have gone on and on, or if something in you feels heavier than tiredness, please talk to a doctor or a sleep specialist. There is no failure in that. It is one more sensible thing a sensible person does. And if you have any condition where changing your sleep schedule carries real risk, if you live with bipolar disorder or epilepsy, or you work somewhere that a moment of drowsiness could hurt you, then the scheduling parts of this program are worth walking through with a professional first, gently, at your own pace. Nothing here asks you to push. Nothing here is a race. So let that be said, and set down too. Maybe you found this the way people find these things at night. Maybe you searched "why can't I sleep?" or "how do I stop my brain from racing at bedtime?" or "why do I keep waking at 3 a.m. and lying there?" Or you typed something like "how do I keep the progress I made? Will it last? Is it going to come back?" If any of that is close to the shape of what brought you here, you're in the right place, and you're further along than you think. Because tonight isn't about starting. Tonight is about keeping. This is the week where we talk, calmly and without any drama, about how you hold on to the sleep you have been rebuilding, and what to do on the nights, the ordinary human nights, when it wobbles. Let's begin the way we always do, not with effort, with arrival. Feel the surface underneath you, the mattress taking your weight. Notice, without changing anything, that you are already being held, that the bed is doing its work whether you help it or not. You don't have to hold yourself up. You haven't had to for hours, you just forgot to stop. So stop now. Let the back of your head grow heavy against the pillow. Let your shoulders drop the small distance they've been holding all day, that quarter-inch of readiness that lives in the shoulders of people who have not slept well. Let it go. Let the shoulders be lower than you think they should be. And breathe, not a special breath. Just let the next one be a little slower on the way out than it was on the way in. That's the whole instruction. The out-breath, unhurried, as if you were setting something down at the end of it. While your body settles, let me tell you what these 4 weeks actually did, because understanding it is part of what makes it hold. People imagine that a program like this works by some trick, some secret they have to keep performing forever, and that the moment they stop performing it, the whole thing collapses. That isn't what happened. What happened is quieter and much stronger than a trick. In the first weeks you did something that sounds almost too plain to matter. You made your bed mean sleep again. For a long time, without meaning to, the bed had become the place where you lay awake, the place where you worried and checked the clock and did the arithmetic of how many hours were left and felt the frustration rise. Your brain, which is a superb and tireless pattern learner, had quietly learned that the bed was a place for being alert, so you taught it something else. You got up when you were wide awake instead of lying there marinating in it. You came back only when sleep was near. And slowly, the bed stopped being a cue for effort and became a cue for sleep again, the way a familiar chair can make you drowsy, the way certain rooms just feel like rest. That association isn't a performance you have to keep doing forever. It's a groove worn back into place. It holds because grooves hold. And you did a second thing, maybe the harder thing. You stopped giving yourself more time in bed than your sleep could fill. When sleep is scarce, the instinct is to spread out, go to bed earlier, linger later, chase the sleep by widening the net. But a wide net over shallow water just catches more lying awake. So you did the counterintuitive thing. You narrowed the window. You matched the time in bed to the sleep you were actually getting, and in doing that you let your sleep drive that deep biological pressure that builds the longer you're awake. You let it build up thick and strong until it pressed you down into sleep faster and held you there more solidly. Your sleep got denser. More of the time you spent in bed became actual sleep. And then, carefully, a little at a time, you gave the window back its width, only as fast as the sleep could fill it. That's not a trick either. That's your own sleep drive, working the way it has worked in every human being for as long as there have been humans. It didn't leave. It was only buried. You dug it back out. And the third thing, the thing we spent last week on, you did with your mind. You met the thoughts. The catastrophic ones, the 3 in the morning ones. If I don't sleep now, I'll ruin tomorrow. I'll never be normal. Something is wrong with me. And instead of arguing with them or being dragged behind them, you learn to answer them with something boring and accurate. One rough night is survivable. You have survived every single one so far. Tiredness is uncomfortable, not dangerous. My body knows how to sleep. It has done it hundreds of thousands of times. The dull, true sentence said without heat, and the dull, true sentence repeated takes the charge out of the frightening one, not by force, by being more accurate. So that's what changed, not your willpower, not some fragile new habit balanced on a knife's edge. You changed what your bed means, you rebuilt the pressure that drives sleep, and you took the electricity out of the thoughts that used to keep you switched on. Those are real changes in a real nervous system, and they don't evaporate the moment you stop thinking about them. They hold the way a healed thing holds. And tonight, and this week, we're going to make sure you know they're yours, so that if the ground ever shifts a little under you, you don't panic. You just reach for the tool you already have. Let the breath keep slowing while you take that in. Now feel your body a little more. The out-breath still a touch longer than the in. And this time, as the air leaves, let a softness move down through you, not because you're forcing anything loose, but because there is simply no reason to hold. Start at the jaw. The jaw is where so many people keep the day. Let the back teeth come apart just slightly so there's a small space there, and let the tongue rest low and wide in the floor of the mouth. When the jaw lets go, the whole face follows it down. The small muscles around the eyes stop their fine holding. The forehead, which spends the day doing 100 tiny calculations, goes smooth and broad and still. And notice the warmth. Wherever your skin meets the sheets, there's a low warmth pooling at your back, along the backs of your legs, in the palms of your hands, wherever they rest. You don't have to make the warmth. You only have to notice it, the way you'd notice the sun on a wall. Let your attention rest on the warmest place you can find, and let it spread from there, slow, like heat moving through water. This is one of the oldest signals of safety. The body has warmth, weight, stillness. Your nervous system reads it without being told. It begins, on its own, to stand its guard down. Let me tell you the most useful thing I know about keeping the sleep you've rebuilt. It's this. You have to know the difference between weather and climate, between one bad night and a relapse, because they feel the same in the dark at the time, and they are not the same at all, and mistaking one for the other is the single most common way that people undo good work. A bad night is weather. It comes for everyone. It comes for the people who have never had a sleep problem in their lives. They just don't notice it because they've never had a reason to keep score. A stretch of shallow sleep before something important. A night your body ran hot, or the neighbors were loud, or you drank coffee too late, or you were sad about something true, or there was no reason at all, and sleep just didn't come and you lay there and morning arrived anyway. That is not a sign. That is not the beginning of the end. That is Tuesday. That is the ordinary static of being a living creature on a spinning planet, and it means exactly nothing about tomorrow night. Everyone sleeps badly sometimes. The difference between a good sleeper and an anxious one was never that the good sleeper never had a bad night. It's that the good sleeper had a bad night, shrugged, and forgot about it by lunchtime. The shrug is the skill, and the shrug is something you can learn. A relapse is different. A relapse isn't one night. It's a pattern, several nights gathering, starting to lean into each other. And here is the good news buried inside that, the thing I want you to actually feel and not just hear. A relapse is a pattern you now know how to interrupt. You are not the person you were at the start of this. That person didn't have tools. They only had fear and a widening pool of time in bed. You have tools. You have 3 of them tested in your own hands, and you know they work because you watched them work. So a returning pattern is not a catastrophe. It's a signal, a familiar one, telling you which tool to pick up. That's all. The alarm that used to mean I'm broken now means, simply, oh, time to do the thing that works. That is the whole shift. That's what 5 weeks bought you. Feel the bed under you again. Heavier now, I'd guess. The body sinks a little further each time you check on it. So let's rehearse the playbook, calmly, the way you'd walk a route you already know, not because you're worried, but because walking it makes it smooth. This is your own personal set of moves, and we're going to say them once gently tonight, so they're close to hand if you ever need them. Nothing here is homework. Nothing here needs doing right now. This is just laying the tools out on the table where you can see them, so you know they're there, and then putting them away again. If the 3 in the morning waking comes back, that particular one, where you surface in the dark and your eyes open and the mind starts to hum, you already know the move. You don't fight to fall back asleep. Fighting is what feeds it. You give it a little while, 20 minutes or so, not measured on a clock but felt. The way you can feel when lying there has curdled from resting into waiting. And if it's curdled, you get up. You go somewhere dim and quiet and boring, and you do something low and dull until sleepiness rolls back in, and then, only then, you return to the bed that now means sleep, not struggle. That's stimulus control. You've done it. It isn't a punishment, it's a kindness. You're protecting the meaning of the bed, you're keeping it clean. Let that settle, and let the out-breath lengthen once more. If the dread comes back, the tightening as bedtime approaches, the story that starts to tell itself about how tonight might go, you already know that move too. You meet the frightening sentence with the boring, accurate one. Not a lie, not a bright, forced, positive thing you don't believe. Just the truth said flatly. One bad night is weather. I have slept before and I will sleep again. Tired is unpleasant, not unsafe. My body did not forget how. You let the dull truth stand next to the loud fear, and you notice that the dull truth is heavier, that it doesn't need to shout, that it just sits there being true until the fear runs out of breath. That's the cognitive work. You've done that too. And if the window drifts, if, over a few easy weeks, you find yourself sliding to bed earlier and earlier, or lingering longer in the morning, spreading out again, and the sleep starts to thin and spread with it, you know that one as well. You tighten it back up for a week. You return to a snug window, matched to the sleep you're actually getting, wake at the same time every morning, let the sleep drive build back thick, let the sleep grow dense again, and then let the window widen once more, slowly, only as the sleep earns it. It's the same move you already made, run again, on purpose, before a small drift becomes a large one. A week of tightening. That's the whole repair. That's the playbook. 3 moves for 3 weathers. Notice that you didn't learn anything new just now, you already had all of it. I only said it back to you the way you'd read a familiar list and nod. Good. Let it go now. You don't have to hold it. It's not going anywhere. It lives in you the way home lives in you. You don't rehearse it every night. You just know you could find it in the dark. And now, there is nothing to do at all. Let the breath go where it wants. It doesn't need you to lengthen it anymore. It's already found its own slow rhythm, the one it goes to when you're nearly under. You don't have to steer it. Just ride on top of it, the way you'd float on slow water, feeling yourself lifted a little on each rise and set down a little on each fall. Rise and set down, in and out. And with every setting down, a little further from the edge, a little further into the warm dark, a little less of you awake, and a little more of you asleep. Let me tell you one more quiet thing while your body keeps sinking. The confidence you're looking for, the certainty that this will hold, you won't find it by chasing a guarantee, because there aren't any, not for you and not for anyone, not for the best sleeper you've ever envied. What you have instead is better than a guarantee, and it's this: you know what to do. Whatever comes, you know the move. And a person who knows what to do doesn't need the certainty that nothing will ever go wrong. They can let go of that heavy, impossible wish, the wish for a perfect run of nights, and rest in something much lighter and much truer, which is, if it wobbles, I'll handle it. I've handled it. I have the tools in my hands. Feel how much lighter that is. The wish for perfection was heavy, you can put it down. You were never going to sleep perfectly every night for the rest of your life, and now you don't have to. You only have to be someone who sleeps well most nights and knows what to do on the others. And that person, that ordinary, capable, unremarkable good sleeper, is who you've quietly become, not by trying harder tonight. By practicing something over weeks until it stopped being a thing you do and became a thing you are. So there's nothing to prove now, nothing to earn before morning. The work is done, and the only thing left is the oldest and simplest thing, the thing your body has always known how to do and is beginning to do right now, underneath all these words, to let go by degrees and drift and go under. Let's do the wind down one more time, the way you've done it, the way that's yours now, not learning it, just doing it, the way you'd hum a song you've known for years. Start where you always start, not with your mind, but with your weight. Let the mattress have it, all of it. The small held tension you carry without noticing, in the backs of the knees, in the hips, in the place where your shoulders meet your neck, let it be received by the bed, the way ground receives a stone that's been resting on it for years. You are not falling, you are being held. There's a difference, and your body knows it now. The bed under you is not a place of effort anymore. You spent 4 weeks teaching it that quietly, night after night, that this shape, this dark, this settling means sleep and not struggle. And it learned. It's a slow animal, the body, but a loyal one, and it learned. So when your weight goes down into the mattress now, some old part of you that used to brace here, used to arrive here with a knot of expectation, finds nothing to brace against. There's nothing here to fight. There never really was. Only a place to lie down and be heavy, and let the day finish going. Feel the warmth first at the center of you, the low, banked warmth in the belly and the chest, the warmth of a body that's slowing down for the night, blood moving unhurried, the furnace turned low because nothing needs burning now. And feel how that warmth spreads, without your doing anything, the way heat finds its way through a room after the lamp's been lit a while, out along the arms, into the hands. The hands are often the last to let go, they've held so much today, gripped and typed and carried and clenched in the small ways hands clench, and now they can be nothing but warm and open and still, the fingers slightly curled, not by holding, but by the absence of holding, the way a hand rests when there's finally nothing in it. Let the warmth reach them, let it pool in the palms. And down through the legs, that heavy, grateful ache of a body allowed at last to stop standing, stop moving, stop being ready, the warmth going all the way to the feet, and past them, out of you, into the dark at the end of the bed. And listen, not for anything, just listen to how quiet the room actually is. Underneath the sound of my voice, there's a floor of silence, and in that silence, if you let your ear go soft, small sounds that are not asking anything of you, the room ticking as it cools, the almost sound of your own breathing. The house settling on its beams the way houses do at night, easing, letting go of the day's warmth, making its small wooden sounds that mean nothing is wrong, only that a large, still thing is coming to rest, the same as you. You don't have to name the sounds, you don't have to track them. Let them arrive and let them go, each one a little further away than the last, the whole audible world drawing back from you slowly, like a tide you're not watching, until the sounds are happening somewhere out past the edge of you, and you are here in the warm center, sinking. This is the part that's yours now, not a technique you're performing. Just the way you go down, the way another person might have a certain way of folding into a chair they've owned for 20 years. You've done this enough times now, done it on the good nights, and more importantly, done it on the nights it didn't come easily, and you let it not come, and it came anyway later on its own, that it stopped being a set of steps and become a single smooth motion, one long exhale of the whole self. Weight, then warmth, then the sounds going quiet, then the breath finding its own floor. You don't count them off anymore. They just happen in order, the way a key turns and a bolt slides and a door opens without your thinking about which came first. And I want you to notice, while you're this heavy and this warm, how little the old fear has to say tonight. There used to be a voice here, didn't there, at just about this hour, a voice that would clear its throat right when the body started to soften and begin its list. What if I don't? What about tomorrow? Remember the last time. That voice isn't gone. It may still speak now and then on some future night, because it's an old voice and old voices don't vanish, they only lose their audience. But listen to how thin it is now, how little grip it has on you, because you learn the trick of it, that it was never a prophecy, only a habit, never information, only weather in the mind, and you learn to answer it not with panic and not with argument, but with something almost boring, something flat and true and a little tired. It might be a rough night. Rough nights happen. I'll be fine. I've done a rough night before, plenty of them, and the day after was ordinary, and I lived it. There's no drama in that answer, and that's exactly why it works. Fear feeds on drama, on the raised voice, on the fight. It starves on a shrug, and you've become very good, these last weeks, at the shrug, the calm, accurate, unimpressed shrug of a person who has seen this particular ghost before and knows it can't actually touch the furniture. So if the voice starts up on some night down the road, you already know it won't be a catastrophe. It'll just be the voice, doing the thing the voice does, and you lying there warm and heavy, letting it talk, not arguing, not obeying, the way you'd let a television murmur in another room while you drift off, near enough to hear that something's being said, far enough that not one word of it can reach in and wake you. That's all it is now. Background. Weather. A thing that passes over and moves on and leaves the sky exactly where it was. Let the breath drop a little lower, not by pulling it, by allowing it. Each out-breath a small releasing of altitude, like a slow descent through soft air, nothing sudden, only down and down by inches, the ground never rushing up, just the steady, quiet losing of height that means you're nearly there. And with each one, let a little more of the day come loose and fall away. The things you did, the things you didn't get to, the face someone made that you've been turning over. The sentence you wish you'd said differently, none of it needs solving tonight. That's the deep permission underneath all of this, that the night is not for solving. The night is for setting down. Whatever's unfinished will still be there in the morning, and in the morning you'll have a rested mind to meet it with, which is the only kind of mind that ever solves anything anyway. So set it down, not forever, just for now, just until light. You can pick up whatever you like when the sky comes back. For these dark hours, your only work is no work at all. And here is the thing I keep coming back to quietly, because it's the truest part. You are not trying to sleep right now. You've let that go. Trying was always the thing that stood in the door. And you know that now in your body, not just as an idea, that sleep is not something you do, it's something you stop preventing, not a place you reach by effort, but a place you sink to when the effort finally stops. You've felt it enough times to trust it. The night you gave up on it entirely, turned over, decided you'd just rest with your eyes closed and not care whether it came, and it came, of course it came, the moment you stopped standing guard over the door and let it swing open on its own. That's the whole secret, and it isn't even a secret. It's just how the thing works, how it's always worked, for you and for everyone who's ever fallen asleep since the beginning. You don't catch sleep, you allow it. You get comfortable and warm and heavy and bored in the good way, and you stop minding either way, and it arrives, the way evening arrives, without being summoned, without asking your permission, simply because it's time. And it's nearly time. You can feel it, can't you, in the thickness settling over your thoughts, the way the words are starting to come apart a little at the edges, the way one thought no longer quite connects to the next, the gaps between them widening, softening, filling with a warm grey nothing that you have no wish to cross. That loosening is not something going wrong. That's the machinery of sleep doing exactly what it does, the mind uncoupling itself carriage by carriage from the day, each thought a little more distant than the last, until there's no train at all, only the drift. Let the thoughts come apart. Don't try to hold them together. The coming apart is the sleep beginning. You've felt it 1,000 times and never once had to help it. It knows the way. Let me name one last soft time the things you built not to make you think, but so you can lay them down beside you like tools you've cleaned and set on the bench at the end of a day's work, knowing right where they are, not needing to touch them. You built a wake time that holds 1 hour your body can trust, one fixed point that the whole rhythm hangs from, so that even after a bad night the anchor doesn't move and the drift can't get far. You built a bed that means sleep again, because you were patient enough to only give it sleep, to take your wakefulness elsewhere and bring only your drowsiness back, until the old wrong wiring, bed means lying here awake and frustrated, was replaced, slowly, with the true thing, bed means down, bed means warm, bed means gone. You built a sleep drive strong enough to carry you by trusting the hunger for sleep instead of fearing it, by letting yourself get properly tired so that sleep came deep and thick instead of thin and far away. And you built the calm answer to the fearful thought, the flat true unimpressed reply, worn smooth now from use. 4 tools, cleaned and set down, right there on the bench. You don't have to hold a single one of them to sleep. You only have to know they're there, and you do know. So your hands can be empty. Let them be empty. Let everything be empty and warm and slow. There's a stillness that comes into a body right before it goes under. You might feel it now, arriving, a kind of settling that goes one layer deeper than the rest before it, where even the small unconscious adjustments stop, the little shifts and swallows and flickers, and the body arrives at a stillness it didn't choose, a stillness that chose it. When that comes, you don't have to notice it, and you won't for long, because noticing is itself a kind of wakefulness, and you're moving past the place where noticing lives. Let it take you past that place. Let the last of the watching dissolve. There's no one who needs to keep watch tonight. The house is settled. The doors are held. The anchor is set. And you are so heavy now, and so warm and so far from the edge, that the only direction left is down. And down is where you're already going, gently, without effort, without permission needed, the way water finds the low place, the way the day finds its end. Breathe out and go a little further. There's no floor to this that you have to worry about reaching. You'll simply be here, and then at some point you won't be able to mark. You'll be under asleep, gone in the good way, and there'll be no moment of crossing that you could point to, because there never is. The crossing is always missed, always happens in a gap you can't be awake for, and that's not a failure of attention, it's the mercy of the whole design that you never have to witness your own going. You only ever wake on the far side of it and find the night has passed. So you don't have to catch the moment. You couldn't if you tried. Just keep sinking and let it take you when it takes you, unremarked, unforced, the way it's meant to. And in the mornings after, I'll say this while there's still a little of you to hear it, and then I'll say less and less. You'll get up at your hour, the same hour, and let the light in, and the anchor will hold the day in place the way it's learned to. Some of those mornings you'll have slept beautifully and you'll barely think of it, which is exactly as it should be, because the best sign of all is when sleep becomes boring again, a thing you don't examine, a thing that just happens and gets forgotten like the good ordinary miracle it is. And some mornings you'll have slept less or worse, and you'll notice the old flicker of alarm want to start, and you'll meet it with the shrug, the flat true tired shrug, and you'll go about the day, and the day will be ordinary, and by evening your body will be honestly tired, and the whole small wobble will have corrected itself before you even reached for a tool. That's how it holds, not by never wobbling, by wobbling small and writing quick, and not making a story out of it. You've become someone who doesn't make a story out of it. That's the quiet victory. That's the thing 4 weeks bought you that no pill and no promise ever could, not a guarantee of perfect nights, but the end of the fear of imperfect ones, which turns out to be the very thing that was keeping you awake. But that's all tomorrow, and tomorrow can keep itself. Right now there is only this, the warm weight, the slow breath finding its own floor, the room drawn back and gone quiet, the thoughts coming apart at their soft edges, and you sinking easily into the dark you've made friends with. Nothing to prove, nothing to earn, nothing to hold. The bench is set. The anchor holds. The door swings open on its own. Let it. Let the breath go and go with it. Down past the last of the words, past the place where meaning lives, into the warm, wordless grey where you don't need me at all anymore, where my voice is just another one of the small far sounds the night is making, no more urgent than the house easing on its beams, no more asking of you than the tide. You can stop listening now. The listening was never the point. The point was only to lie here and be heavy and be warm and let go by degrees until there's no going left to do, and you're so close to that now, so close to the place where the last thread loosens and slips, and you go quietly, completely all the way under, the way you were always able to, the way you're doing right now, without trying, without watching, without needing this sentence to finish before you're already gone. So let it not finish. Let the words thin out and drift further apart, softer, less. There's no ending you have to wait for, no last thing you need to hear, only the dark and the warmth and the slow water carrying you down and further down into sleep that's yours now, that was always going to be yours, that's holding you already, all around you, deeper than any voice can reach. Rest, just rest. Everything is done and everything is held, and there is nothing now but the sinking and the warm and the going and the dark. And while you rest there, let something gentle keep turning over in the back of the mind, unhurried, the way a slow thought turns when there's no one waiting on the answer. The small true fact that everything you did across these weeks, you did with your own body, in your own bed, on your own nights, and that means it doesn't live in me, and it never did. It lives in the muscle of your habits now, in the hour you wake, in the way you rise when the bed stops working and come back only when it will. In the plain, flat sentences you've learned to say to the dark. None of that is borrowed. None of it can be taken back at the door when the session ends. It's yours the way knowing how to float is yours. You can go years without touching water, and the first time you lie back into it again, the body remembers before the mind does, and the water holds you exactly as it always would. Sleep is like that now. Something the body remembers how to do under all the noise, beneath all the trying, an old competence that was never actually lost, only buried for a while under fear, and you spent 4 weeks quietly digging it back out, and here it is, working right now, holding you up while you barely notice. So there's nothing left to install tonight, nothing new to learn. This last stretch of the program isn't for adding, it's for letting the things settle in deeper, the way a path settles when it's walked, the way soft ground firms underfoot when enough quiet mornings have crossed it in the same direction. You've walked this enough times now that it's beginning to be a path and not a decision. And a path is a wonderful thing because you don't have to choose it each night, you just find your feet already on it, already going the way they know, and all you do is not step off. That's all consolidation is, not stepping off. Letting the ordinary momentum of a thing that already works carry itself forward, night after night, with less and less of you needed at the wheel, until one evening you'll realize you haven't thought about your sleep in a week, haven't rehearsed a single tool, haven't braced for a single night, and that forgetting will be the deepest proof of all that it took. Let me leave you a few small things to keep, then quietly, in case a night ever comes that asks for them, and then I'll stop asking anything of you at all. Keep the wake time. Of everything you changed, that's the beam the whole house rests on, the one steady hour you rise, near enough the same on the good nights and the ragged ones, the anchor that holds the whole day's rhythm in place, so the night knows when to come. If only one thing survives the months ahead, let it be that. The body forgives almost anything if you give it back its morning. Keep the wake time, and the rest tends to find its way home on its own. And keep the willingness to leave the bed. That was the hard one, the counterintuitive one, the one that felt like surrender the first few times and turned out to be the opposite. The small brave act of rising into the cool dark when the bed has gone sour with waiting, so that the bed never learns to mean waiting again. You may not need it for a long while. But keep it near, the way you keep a light by the stairs, not because you expect to fall, but because knowing it's there means you never brace on the way down. If the 3 o'clock stretch of wakefulness ever drifts back, you won't fight it and you won't fear it. You'll just do the plain old thing. Up into the quiet, something dull and warm and dim, and back only when the sand in your eyes tells you it's time. No drama, no defeat. Just the practiced motion of someone who knows the way back, because they've walked it and it works. And keep the boring sentences. The flat, accurate, unremarkable things you learned to say when the mind reached for its old catastrophes, when it started building the tower of tomorrow out of tonight, the ruined day, the failing health, the endless unbroken chain of terrible nights stretching ahead. You learn to meet that tower with a shrug and a fact. One night is one night. Tired is survivable and always was. The body takes what sleep it truly needs, in the end, whether or not you supervise it. I have done this before and the day was ordinary. These aren't spells and they were never meant to thrill, they're just true, and their trueness is the whole of their power, because the fear was never true and could never survive being looked at plainly. You don't have to believe them with your whole heart at 3 in the morning. You only have to say them, flat and dull, and let their ordinariness leak the pressure out of the moment until the moment softens and you can lie back down. Keep those. They weigh nothing, and they hold in any weather. That's the playbook, that's the whole of it. Not a fortress, a few plain tools worn smooth by use, kept somewhere you can reach without looking. And the deepest thing about them, the thing I most want to leave sitting quietly in you as you sink, is that you will almost never need them. That's not a small print disclaimer, that's the point. You build the seawall so you can stop watching the sea. You keep the tools precisely so you can forget them, so the knowing that they're there frees you from the watching, and it's the watching, always, that was the trouble. A person who knows they can handle a bad night stops lying awake guarding against one. And a person who stops guarding sleeps. The tools work most when they're never picked up. They work by being owned. So own them and set them down, and let this whole apparatus of effort, the tracking, the rules, the sentences, the schedule, the 4 weeks of quiet, careful attention, let it recede now into the background of your life like scaffolding coming down off a building that's learned to stand. The scaffolding was never the building. It only held the shape while the shape set, and the shape is set. You can feel it setting even now, in the ease of your own breath, in the weight that's found the mattress without being told, in the way the dark isn't a place you're enduring tonight, but a place you're sinking into gladly, a familiar water, a made friend, a thing that belongs to you now the way your own name does. Let the counting mind rest. It has counted enough hours, enough nights, enough of the endless bad arithmetic of how much and how little and how far till morning. That arithmetic is closing its books. There's no sum left to keep tonight. However this night goes, it's already handled, already fine, already forgiven in advance by a body that knows how to right itself and a mind that has finally, quietly agreed to let it. Nothing to add up, nothing to carry forward. The ledger is shut, and the desk is dark, and the one who used to sit up late over the figures has gone, at last, to bed. And notice, if any noticing is even left in you now, and there needn't be, how little you're doing to make this happen. This descent isn't a task you're performing, you're not steering it. You couldn't steer it if you tried, and the not trying is exactly the thing that lets it come. That's the last and strangest lesson the 4 weeks taught, the one underneath all the others. That sleep is the one thing that arrives only when you stop reaching for it, that runs from the hand, that grabs and pulls in the hand held open. You spent so long grabbing, reaching in the dark for a thing that recedes from reaching. And somewhere in these weeks your hand opened, without your quite deciding it, and here is the sleep, pooling in the open palm, warm, unforced, arriving on its own the way it always meant to, the way it does for the whole sleeping world every night, without a single one of them earning it. Because that's true too, and let it be the wide, soft thought that carries you the rest of the way down, that everywhere around you, in every direction, past the walls of this room and the walls beyond it, the world is doing this same thing, sinking in its millions into the same dark, none of them trying, none of them supervising, all of them simply set down at the end of the day by the same old tide that's setting you down now. You're not doing something difficult and alone. You're doing the most ordinary thing there is, the thing every living body knows in its blood, the oldest easy surrender, joining the vast quiet company of everyone who's ever closed their eyes and let the day fall away. There's nothing special being asked of you, nothing that you, alone of all of them, can't do. You're just lying down at the end of a day like everything that breathes and letting the dark have you the way it was always going to, the way it's having you right now. Feel how the room has gone soft at its edges, not seen, just known, the way you know the shape of a place with your eyes closed, the walls further off than they were, the ceiling lifted and vague, the corners dissolved, the whole architecture of the waking room loosening its lines and letting go of its hard geometry, becoming less a room than a warmth, less a place than a holding. And you in the middle of it, held weightier by the minute, the mattress rising to meet the whole long length of you, the pillow taking the last of the head's small weight so the neck can quit its holding, the shoulders wide and dropped and done, the hands somewhere below thought, the breath moving all on its own down at the bottom of everything, slow and even, and asking nothing. There's a kindness in it, if you can still feel kindness, a real tenderness in how the body wants to do this, how patiently it's waited under all the years of struggle for you to simply stop struggling and let it, how it never once stopped knowing the way even when the fear was loudest, how it's forgiven every bad night without a word and is ready, always ready, the moment you stop standing in its path. Your body has been on your side this whole time. That's worth resting into. It was never the enemy in the bed with you. The fear was, and the fear is leaving, thinner every night, and what's left when it goes is just this old, faithful animal warmth that wanted only to sleep, and can now and is. So let the last of the watching close, its eyes too. There's a part of the mind that stayed up all these years as a sentry, standing guard over your sleep, so anxious to protect it that it made sleep impossible by never sleeping itself, and that sentry can stand down now, can lay its long vigil down at last, because there's nothing left to guard against, because the thing it feared has been met and named and made ordinary, because you know, in the deep, unbothered way you know few things, that whatever the night brings you'll be all right in the morning. And always were, the sentry can sleep, it's earned it more than anyone. Let it fold down into the dark with the rest of you, its watch finally over, its long job done. And now even these words are more than the night requires. You're past the place where explaining helps, out beyond the reach of reasons, into the country where things are simply felt, and then not even felt, only had. Let me thin, then. Let me become what I was always meant to become by now, not a voice you're listening to, but a texture in the dark, one more low sound among the room's small sounds, no more meant for you than the settling of the walls or the far hush of the air, something you could stop hearing entirely and lose nothing, because everything I had to give you is already given, already in you, already working without me. You don't need to follow this anymore. You don't need to hold the thread. The thread can drop. Let it drop. Let the sense of the sentences come loose from their sound, and let the sound alone carry you, low and even and going nowhere you have to go, a current under the surface of a mind that's already halfway into the dark. Down where the words don't reach and don't need to, where there's no more program and no more practice, no week 5, no tools, no wake time to keep tonight, because tonight is not for keeping anything, only for letting, only for the long, slow letting that's been carrying you deeper this whole while, under the reach of any voice, into the plain, warm dark that asks nothing and holds everything, and has you now completely, the way it always meant to have you at the end of an ordinary day. Heavier still, slower still, the breath so far down now you've stopped attending it, the body so given over you've lost the line where it ends and the bed begins, the room gone to warmth, the warmth gone to weight, the weight gone to a slow dark water that only carries, only lowers, only takes you further from the surface with every breath you no longer count. There's no floor to this. You don't have to arrive anywhere. Just keep sinking, gently, the way you're sinking, past the last of the thinking, past the last of me, into the wide quiet where sleep already lives and has been waiting all along, patient and warm and yours. Nothing to do, nothing to keep, nothing to be but heavy and warm and going. The night has you, the bed has you. The old animal ease has you, and it's not letting go, and neither are you, not anymore, not tonight. You've stopped holding on to the surface at last, stopped fighting the pull that was only ever kindness, and you're going down into it now, freely, quietly, all the way, further than words go, further than worry reaches, down where the dark is soft and the warmth is total, and the sleep is already closing over you like slow water over a stone that's finally come to rest at the bottom, still and held and home. Let the last light of attention dim. Let it go the way a lamp goes when someone turns it low across a far room, not gone all at once, just less and softer and further, until the difference between dim and dark stops mattering, and there's only the dark, only the warm, only the weight and the slow tide and the going, and you, deep in it now, unbothered, unhurried, unafraid, sinking the last small distance into a sleep that was always yours to have. And there's nothing left to do now but stay down here where you've come to rest. No next thing, no effort waiting on the other side of this, just the staying, the being held, the slow warm weight of a body that has finally stopped asking anything of you. You don't have to make the sleep happen. You never did. That was the whole quiet lesson of these weeks, wasn't it? That sleep is not something you do, not something you reach for or earn or force, but something that arrives when you stop standing in its way, something that comes for a body that feels safe and heavy and done with the day. And you've done that now. You've let the day be done. You've let the bed become the simple thing it was always meant to be, a place for exactly this, for the sinking and the warmth and the letting, and your body knows it, believes it, all the way down, in a way that needs no more words from me and no more work from you. So let me grow quieter now, the way the room is quiet, the way the dark is quiet. Let the spaces between what I say grow longer and softer, and let those spaces be the most restful part, the part where nothing is asked and nothing is offered and there's only the breath, going on without you, low and slow and even, carrying you further with every rise and every fall you no longer bother to notice. If some far corner of you is still listening, still keeping the faintest thread, then let this be the last thing it holds before it too lets go. Whatever tomorrow is, you already know what to do with it. Not because you have to think about it now, you don't, not now, not for hours, but because it's in you already settled and sure, the way you know how to walk without watching your feet. If the night ever comes when you surface at 3, wide and blinking in the dark, you won't have to solve it. You'll just rise quietly and let the bed rest without you a while and come back when the weight returns. Simple, practiced, yours. And if the old dread ever leans in close and whispers its worst, you'll have the boring true answer ready, that one hard night is only weather, that it passes, that it's coming for everyone and staying with no one, that you've slept before and you'll sleep again, and the morning has never once failed to come. And if the whole shape of it ever drifts, the hours sliding loose, you'll know to gather them back in for a week, gently, without alarm, the way you'd tighten a strap that's worked itself slack. Not a crisis, just a small correction, a thing you now know how to do with your eyes half closed. But that's all for other nights, not this one. This one is already spent, already given over, already sinking past the reach of any of it. You can set it all down. You can let even the knowing go soft, because the knowing will keep whether you hold it or not. That's what it means for something to be yours now, that you can stop gripping it and it stays. So stop gripping. Let the last of the holding open. Let your hands, wherever they are, be as heavy and forgotten as the rest of you, and let that thread, that thin last thread of attention, slip out of them at last, unmissed, into the dark. They're softer already, the voice further off now, less a voice than a warmth in the air, going where the words have been going all along, under and away, into the low, steady nothing that's been holding you this whole while. You don't have to find me again. You won't need to. I'm nearly done, and what's left of me is only the pace of the breath and the fact of the dark and the weight of the bed, and those will carry you long after the sound is gone. Down, just down, the slow tide taking the last of the distance for you, so you don't even have to sink anymore. Only let yourself be lowered. Only let the water be water and the dark be dark, and the warmth close the rest of the way over you like something coming home. There's no floor. There's no bottom to reach and no arriving to do. There's only the going, and the going is gentle, and the going is enough. Heavier now, and warmer, and further. The room settling around you into its own small sounds, none of them for you, all of them soft, the walls easing, the air moving low, the house going quiet the way you're going quiet, everything sinking together toward the same long rest. You're one of the room's sounds now, one of its warm, still things, no more meant to stay awake than the settled walls or the resting air. Nothing here is waiting on you. Nothing here needs you awake. You can let the last of it go. And you are letting it go. I can hear it in the breath, that long, low breath, unhurried, unwatched, coming and going on its own far below you, needing nothing, keeping its own slow time. Let it. It knows the way. It has always known the way. It will breathe you down through the last of the surface and out past the reach of the day and into the place where sleep already is, where it's been waiting, patient and dark and warm this whole time. Almost there, almost nowhere, almost only the dark. Let the sense of these words come fully loose now. You don't need the meaning anymore. You're past where meaning matters, down where it's only sound, only a low, even warmth in the dark, a texture you could stop hearing entirely and lose nothing at all. So stop hearing it, if you like, let it thin, let it blur. Let it go the way the light went, not all at once, only less, and further, until there's no edge left between the sound and the silence, and it doesn't matter which one has you, because both of them are only the dark now, only the warm, only the deep still water closing gently over the last of you. So heavy, so warm, so far down. Nothing to do, nothing to keep, nothing to be now but held. And you are held completely. The bed has you, the dark has you, the long, slow ease you rebuilt across all these ordinary nights has you, and it isn't letting go, and you aren't either. Not now, not from anything, you've let go of it all. The thread and the day and the watching and the words, and there's nothing left in your open hands but the warmth and the weight and the going. Down the last small distance now, the very last, past thinking, past me, into the wide quiet where you already are, where you've been sinking toward all along, where the sleep is already closing over you soft and total and yours. Let it close. Let it. Softer. Slower. The voice thinning to almost nothing now, a last low warmth going out across the far room, dimming the way a lamp dims when someone turns it down and finally away. And you don't follow it, you don't need to, you only sink, only stay, only breathe deep in the dark that has you. Just the breath now, just the weight, just the warm. Down and down. Nothing to reach, nowhere to be. Only here, only heavy, only held in the slow dark water that carries you and asks nothing back. Rest now. All the way. The night has you. Sleep is already here. Let it take you the rest of the way down and stay and stay. And let the dark be soft and warm and yours. Quiet now. Quieter. Down and gone.